August this year will be my second year here in the US as an international student, and it has been amazing. But if somebody shared with me some of the tips I'm going to share with you today, it will have been a different story. Tip number one, housing. Housing and rent in the US is very expensive. Just expect some of the landlords will want you to share with them your the renters. They want to get reference from your the people you've rented with in the past. So if that comes up, reach out to your international office so that they can write you a letter. That's how I managed to bypass that. They can write you a letter so that your landlord may know that you're an international student and you don't have a past reference within the US. That's one for the getting an apartment. But also renting, it's very, very expensive to get an apartment. So I remember when I came in, I had to be hosted by family, friends, and so if you can reach out in advance to your school groups, your Facebook friends and all that within the states you're going to, and request them if they can host you or give you a room within their houses, or get or share an apartment or a housing with your friends. It might be cheaper. I had to rent a whole apartment, not a whole apartment. I rented a 1-bedroom apartment, and the cost for that per month was $1,200, and there are also utilities and all that. So there are places that rent can be cheaper, and there are other places that rent can be expensive. So explore that, start looking for your accommodation in good time, and just get to know that some people will ask you for references and all that. International office within your school should always be able to help. Number two, credit history. I remember when I was buying a car, and they kept on asking me, what's your credit history? And I didn't know even when you're getting an apartment, some people, landlords want to know your credit history, just to know how good you are in terms of paying if you get a loan, paying your creditors and all that. It's a common thing here in the US. I didn't know what credit history is because in most of the countries we come from, we barely build, we are financially we use a lot on debit and we are not strong on credit. But here in the US, there's a lot on credit history. I didn't know about it. I missed on buying my first car, buying the car we wanted to, because I didn't have a credit history, but I was able to get an opportunity to have to build my credit history. It's a journey. I'm getting to know about it, and as you go by, you'll get to know that you'll be required. It's not a requirement, but in most cases when you want to purchase something, especially of higher value, or they just want to know, maybe you want to get a loan or something, they'll want to know about your credit history. 3, alcohol and drugs. So in some countries people start drinking alcohol at the age of 16. I know people started taking alcohol at the age of 14, and so for leisure or for in my country, legal age for taking alcohol is 18. I just want to let you know that here in the US, the legal age is 21. So if you come to the US and you're under 21, you're drinking alcohol, you'll be taken to jail, and you'll be, I think, 6 to 1 year, I think so. But that's like automatic deportation, if you're an international student. So it's just good, it may lead to your deportation. So it's good to check on that. And if you're going to the pub, you always have to carry your national ID or your ID, so that you can show, they check on your age. It's a common thing. So and this I'll also share on the 4th one. It's a common thing to always have to show your ID when you go to a club, when you go to a bar, when you go drinking, and they will not serve you any drink until you show them your ID. They want to confirm your age. So I've mentioned that's drinking alcohol. And again, drinking alcohol, I know many of us, we come from countries countries, we like to party, and some people want to drink their alcohol and show the world the most expensive they're drinking, and they want to drink it outside, showing everyone. If you're found drinking outside with your bottle and all that, there's a higher chance that you'll be arrested. It's very common to see people in other countries partying out there, and but here you have to drink your alcohol privately, like within the building of the club and all that. And the state, so many drugs have been legalized. We have mushrooms, marijuana, among other drugs that are considered illegal in most of our countries. So in this state, it is legal. You can take a certain percentage recreational as a recreational, and if you surpass that particular percentage, it's now considered something else. But let me remind you, when you come in as an international student, you are under federal laws and not state laws. So as an international student under federal laws, it means that you're not supposed to take the legalized drugs like marijuana and mushrooms, the psychedelics and all that, because they are considered illegal in the federal laws. So if you're found with them, whether the state has legalized it, remember, you're not a citizen, you're not a resident, but you're a non-immigrant. You're on an immigrant visa. So I just wanted to let you know that stay away from it. The life on the TV and the real life is too different. We've seen the Hollywood movies and we see America as that, heaven on earth. It's true, America is so developed, and it has good structures, it has amazing people. At the same time, it also has its own challenges. There's a higher chance for you to be homeless if you don't work hard, if you don't keep track of your finances. Homelessness is also really high in America, just the same way we have our own problems back in our country. And don't be surprised, don't be shocked. I know we've watched those high-end movies where but the reality is that you have to really work hard and keep track of your finances, keep track of how you use your money well. The next one is education. So education here is it's different. It's different from where we come from. There's a lot of quizzes, a lot of research, a lot of essays, which is good. Also, I think it's different and same. But now the major difference is also the grading system. So if you get 90% to 100, that's considered A. 80% to 89, that is B in most system. B, actually, in almost all US system, if you get 89%, that's B plus in some places, or B. So it will be under B category. If you get 70 to 79, that's C. 60 to 69, that's D. Remember, if you're an F1, there is a particular GPA that you need to maintain, and especially if you are on scholarship, there is a particular GPA that you always have to maintain. So always have that at the back of your mind. Keep your education first, because that's why you're here in the US, you're coming to the US, your education comes first. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that transportation. If you go to a state that has a good transportation system, in my state, they've given us, as students, we have the pass that allows you to use any public train, public buses and all that for free. You don't have to pay for the whole academic year. So I've used that most of the time. But in some states, the bus transport and light rail and all that might be challenging. I would advise you to get a car, and that's where credit history will come in. But when you get a car, there's some things that I also wanted to let you know, that if you can come to the US with your international driving license, you are allowed to drive here with your international driving license for a period of 3 to 6 months, depending on the state. And you can, when you're doing that, you can go ahead and get a driving license here in the US. Even international students are allowed to have a driver's license. I have my driver's license. All you need to do is to go in with your I-20 and your passport, and do the test, and you get your driving license. It's also important to have that driving license or state ID, so that you don't walk around with your passport. Your passport is very, very important. People here in the US, depending on which part of the of the state you are in. There are some states, the Midwest good, the Midwest happy, the Midwest, and then there are also other people from other, so people interact differently. I don't want to group people in, certain cocoon and say, okay, these people are good, these people are bad. People are different, the same way people in your community are different. But there's something I realized when I came here. I would see a lot of people do fake smile, so you'll see a lot of people doing like they want to smile. I don't know why they fake it. So if you see such kind of thing, just get to know that that's a way of nodding your presence or showing, so don't take offense, that's their culture. So I've also managed to cram how to, do that's like hi or something. I don't know, I'm still figuring out why people do. So it's very common in my state, and I've seen it across different states. So people are very friendly. If you find a community that is very friendly, and people interacting with people is just the same as where you're coming from, but just be cautious what to share out. Be cautious of people's don't impose your faith, don't impose your culture, don't impose and also don't let people impose their things on you. Stick to your belief, stick to your faith, stick to something that whatever you believe in. Let no one control your life, and just interact with people in the best way possible, and I know it should be okay. Health insurance, oh my goodness, this is a big thing. Healthcare in the US is awesome. It's among the best places to get healthcare, but it doesn't come cheap. It's very expensive to have healthcare here in the US. I'm a student, and my health insurance is $3,600 every year, which I have to pay. And this one, apart from having health insurance of $3,600, you also, when you go for medical care, there's something called copay. In our countries, when you have health insurance, there's nothing else guys, if you're meeting me for the very first time, my name is Sheila Bandigraph. I talk a lot about scholarship and all that. I'm seated like this because I had a major knee surgery, so my leg is elevated, so that's why I'm having this funny seat. I'm currently in the US doing my studies, international development, my second master's. I'm also on full scholarship, so yeah. I also do my research. I'm a research assistant part-time. So I was talking about healthcare. Health insurance is very, very expensive, but all international students are expected to have health insurance. So when you go in, I was explaining, when you're going to see a doctor outside your university clinic and all that, you'll be expected to pay something called copay if your insurance does not cater for everything. So I didn't know about copays, and normally when I would go in to see, these are external physicians, or you've done maybe x-rays or lab requests, they'll always tell you either $25 copay or $50, depending on what you're doing. So just have that at the back of your mind, and always ask them if they need you to pay to do any copay, which is always paid in cash, or you can put credit or whatever. The other thing I wanted to share is weather. So in the US is so different, weather and time. The time in my state is different from another state, so always have that at the back of your mind. Time in New York is different from time in Colorado, is different from time in Wisconsin and all that. So different states have their different time, and make sure that you indicate properly, whether it's mountain time, whether it's whatever. So use whatever time, know the time difference, and just keep up with it. The weather is good, and most states in the US have for the spring, winter, fall. Which one is the other one? Summer. Yeah, so I remember when I was coming to the US, I packed loads and lots of heavy stuff. I recommend that you don't pack a lot of them. They're cheaper stuff here, and they're heavier according to the weather. So don't pack everything. Don't go bring all they might not be very useful in this weather. So just come, and I like using thrift store. So just use the thrift store, and you'll definitely get something good for you. Work study, you are allowed to do 20 hours a week, and during school days, and 40 hours during holiday. So what I always do is that I use so you check on the state, the minimum wage. In our state, the minimum wage is $15 an hour, and be careful that you don't work outside the university. You're supposed to work right just inside the university and not outside the university. If you work outside the university and you share in your social security and all that, it can be really risky for you and it might lead to your deportation. Yeah. So the spelling and language spelling, if you're coming from a British background, just know that favor, it's FOVOR, so the spellings and pronunciation also varies. Here in the US, there are people who have different accent depending on which state they're coming from, so don't be shocked by that. And they also want to know where you're coming from. A lot of people will ask you, oh, where are you coming from? It will be very common for you. Don't be offended. Some will even tell you, oh, your English is good, which I find it very offensive, but just stay calm, educate them. But so language is different in terms of when you're putting your laptop and all that, let it be to American English so that it can help you adapt to the right spelling, right pronunciation, and all that. I wish you the very best of luck. Thank you so much for listening to me. Kindly subscribe, like, share.